Hello, everybody.
Hello, hello, hello.
Today is Wellness Wednesday, and we have such a special guest for you guys today, and a gift. It's both. But to start off, I just want you guys to know that I am in sunny Arizona visiting my brother outside, so that's why I got on shades. I have bugs flying around me, so if you see me swatting, don't pay any attention to me. But I wanted to be outside. It, Crystal said something about being outside in the sun and vitamin D and cholesterol, and maybe we'll get into that later. But I want to introduce you to Crystal Dominguez. She
Hello, hello,
is
hello.
amazing, and I always start off this program with her giving us her testimony. So, could you please bless us with your testimony? Tell them what Wellness Wednesday is about and why we do it.
All right. Well, I am a natural health and herb specialist and a holistic health coach. And the reason I do this is because, like years ago, I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis. It's an inflammatory bowel disease. It got me basically on my deathbed. I lost over 30 pounds in 1 month, went down to 97 pounds. I was hospitalized. And this actually happened like 2 times in my life where I had a bad flare up. And my daughter was young. She was about, like 2 or something. And I was like, I got to do something because the doctors wanted to put me on medications, right? They were steroids. They even talked about chemo. They talked about doing surgery and things. And I'm like 18 and 24 at these times, right? I'm thinking,
yeah,
I'm too young for this. There's got to be a better way. Not one doctor talked to me about nutrition. Not one doctor talked to me about stress or, getting enough sleep or anything like that, And so I was like, I have to find another way. Well, I went to church and there was this class going on and someone was going to talk about the colon. And so I went to this class. I was like, I need to know because this is affecting my colon. I don't know anything. Like I was like clueless. And so I go to this class and Dr. Inga Wetzel's there, right? She's the one teaching the class. And she's like saying all these things. I'm like, oh my God, my mind was blown. Like she's like talking about colon, like I'm going through this stuff and she knows about it. Like she knows more than the doctor could ever tell me, right? So I'm like, I got to make an appointment with this doctor, right? So I went to Dr. Inga. She did like iridology, some biofeedback and things. And I didn't have to tell her anything. She was like, yeah, colon this and anemia and all these things the doctors already knew by testing. And she could just see it through my eye. Well, that intrigued me. So I do iridology too, because I was like, I got to learn this. And little do you guys know, I actually learned a lot from Dr. Inga, like over these years. It's been since 2006. And I've learned iridology from her. I've learned like essential oils, herbs, all kinds of things. I have the best teachers there are. And the reason I do this is because, hey, I was once sick. I was once on my deathbed and I found another way. She taught me diet, lifestyle, nutrition, detox, balance in the body. She taught me how to eat. And from that point on, my body started to heal. I was no longer 97 pounds, I gained my weight I needed to gain. I'm healthy. I feel good. All these things. I don't have IBS issues like I used to,
right.
Where the doctor said, this is an uncurable disease. You're going to have this for the rest of your life. You're going to have to take medications for the rest of your life. You're probably going to develop cancer in 10 years. Well, that was 2016 and I don't have cancer, guys.
And if you had been going the way that you were going, you would have been probably
absolutely
of having the cancer in your stomach or in your colon or in your rectum even would have been very it would have been happening more than likely. But because you changed everything, because you changed your sorry you guys, because you changed everything about the way you eat, and the herbs and the essential oils and all of that stuff that she taught you is why you diverted
absolutely
that tragedy that totally could happen.
Right.
And you were so young and your body was able to regenerate,
it was a
quicker and
hard
better
hit
than an
though.
older person. Oh, of course.
The second time around when I was 24, that was a harder hit, and I've already had my kid and the doctors were like, well, if you were like 50, probably you'd probably be dead right now because I needed a blood transfusion. Like all these things were happening to me. It wasn't just ulcerative colitis, like one thing after another because I was so sick.
Wow.
It was bad. All the inflammation, all the pain. And It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Well, we talk about Dr. Inga on a regular basis. I went to her. I have been going to her forever, and I don't even know why I started going to Inga, but I started, and I was really glad that I did. She has taught me a lot too,
Hmm.
and we respect her so much, and we're so extremely happy that she has the time to spend with Miss Crystal and I. So, Inga, yeah, she used to go to our church, and she did teach a lot of people. She helped a lot of people's health there, and what we've been learning is if you're not going to do right, do something right. And she is able to teach us to do something right. So with further ado, let's put Miss Inga Wetzel, Dr. Inga Wetzel on.
Yay! Hi, Dr.
Hey!
Inga. How are
Good
you?
morning. I
I
am
tell you what.
wonderful, highly favored, and I am blessed. Thank you, Lord.
Okay.
Amen.
I love
Amen.
it. I
Amen.
love it. So yeah, you get we give you reviews every beginning of every one of our shows. So if ever anybody has seen Wellness Wednesday, they have heard of Dr. Inga because we always say Dr. Inga's done this, Dr. Inga said that, Dr. Inga,
Oh,
and yeah, so you're very important to our whole what we do for Wellness Wednesday and people that listen to us.
Absolutely.
That's
well,
amazing.
glad I can contribute.
Yeah, and for both of us, see, this is the thing, you guys. Crystal didn't know that I was going to Dr. Inga, and I didn't know Crystal was going to Dr. Inga.
Mm-mm.
So that's another one of our connections that are like, what?
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure, for sure.
it's pretty amazing. Okay, so Dr. Inga, could you please bless us with your testimony and why you became a wholeness and wellness coach and teacher and doctor, and where you're from?
Well, I guess my accent kind of gives me away. I am European. I am from the Netherlands, grew up about 3 miles from the German border. So I learned a lot of natural health in Germany, where it was more prevalent than in the Netherlands. I was raised with natural medicine. I had acupuncture at 17 for migraines. I've never had
Oh.
migraines again. My mother would just take us across the border to get whatever it was we needed, whether herbal remedies, acupuncture. She made home remedies. I mean, that was just life. You know, I didn't know any different. Coming to the United States, there was really nothing available when I came to this country in the early 70s, where I was living in Mississippi. That kind of says it all right there. So I strayed away. When you grow up with something, you take it for granted that it is something special to hold on to, and you don't know what it is like not to have it. So it didn't matter back in that day. But then when I married David, he was in the Marine Corps. We got out of the Marine Corps, and every 3 months he was deadly ill. I mean, like deadly ill. He was shivering. He could perspire through 10 layers of blankets, burning up with fever. His father was one of the top 25 pathologists in the nation, and he would draw his blood and try to figure out what was wrong with him. He sent him to internal medicine doctors who were also in the military, because we were stationed in the Orient. And nobody knew what was wrong with David. And I'm thinking, my husband is not going to be able to keep a job. You know, he's called every other month. This would come on. And it scared me. And it scared me that they just gave him penicillin. And I'm like, we don't do stuff like that. We don't just take penicillin every other month. So I bought a book. One day I went out and bought a book. I'll never forget it. And David will never forget it, called Peterson's Field Guide to Edible Plants. And I had it laying there, and he picks the book up, and he grew up on a farm, acreage. And he says, oh, I know where that grows. I know where that grows. I know where that grows. I know what that is. And he went into his parents' farmhouse upstairs and came out with this book with all these dried plants that he collected while he was in high school, this whole book.
Wow.
And I looked at him. I said, let's go. He said, let's go what? I said, let's go find these plants. Because I didn't know what else to do for him. He was so sick. And we started harvesting herbs. We started drying herbs. I made my own capsules and tinctures, and he became my guinea pig, because I was literally terrified that I wouldn't have a husband in the next 5 years. Wow. So we did go to the VA. He got quote unquote disability enough to just get, to get penicillin when it come on. But I wanted it on records while we went back in case I would lose my husband. Yeah. So long story short, it's been gone for many years. Nobody ever knew what it was. So a diagnosis is only helpful if you don't know how to get rid of disease.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
But if we
Right.
can get the body cleaned up and get the body to do what it needs to do, we can heal the body with God's natural foods. Of course, back in the day, I knew nothing about all the pesticides. I did know that I didn't pick anything around the creek because the water in the creek was blue and yellow and pink.
Yeah.
But, now we know better about how clean products need to be so that we don't contribute to other problems. But yeah, that is kind of what got me going. I kept studying because more friends kept asking, something I can do for this. And I have that, and my husband and my cousin. And so I kept learning and learning. And back in the day, I was kind of foolish or naive enough to think that if I became a naturopathic doctor, I would be accepted by medical, by the medical profession. But that will never happen. That will never happen. We can't even speak openly these days. But that's my story. And my husband will tell everybody, if it hadn't been for me, he would have been 6 feet under by now.
Wow. Well, and we are so conditioned to take penicillin, but don't realize how detrimental it is. My daughter had adenoid and tonsil problems, like when the first 4 years of her life. And of course, what do? You go to a doctor, they tell you to take penicillin, you give them penicillin, but then she developed yeast infection.
Yeah.
And then every 10 days, when she came off of the penicillin, she went back into having ear, nose, and throat problems.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, doctor. And I called her by her first name, Dr. Linda. I said, all right, Linda, my daughter is going through these issues. We're not treating the problem. We're treating the symptom.
Correct.
Right.
And that's when I first found out exactly what you're saying, Dr. Inga. It's about the diagnosis is okay. All right, now what do? We need to get to the root cause.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what people don't look at. In natural medicine, there are phases. And I remember there was a phase back in the 90s where everybody was taking DHEA. It was the anti-aging youth supplement that everybody should take. And now nobody thinks about DHEA anymore.
Right.
So there are all these phases. You see these supplements come, now this is popular, this is popular. And everybody gets on the bandwagon and things come and go. But we need to get down to what Kathy said, the origin, the underlying root cause of the problem. And it doesn't matter what the condition is, there is always toxicity.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's
take so much toxicity.
Yeah. Take a shower, your skin absorbs all these toxins from the water, and yes, some people have water systems, but most people don't. But even if you have a water system, you're breathing in the air. In the United States, you cannot breathe in air without breathing in Roundup.
And Roundup, it's terrible. It destroys the thyroid.
Oh, it causes cancer. We have told people for 20, 30 years that Roundup causes cancer. Now, finally, there's a lawsuit.
Yeah. Class action.
People don't want to listen. People want to believe, and not just do people want to believe what the media says and what the doctor says, but many people do not want to take responsibility because it's inconvenient to have to take care of their own health.
I kind of think that people are overwhelmed too and just don't know what to do, where to go, who to ask.
Yeah.
And they feel overwhelmed. And that's why we do what we do. I know Crystal says she does it the way why she does it, and that's wonderful. But I'm doing it for educational reasons and for people to get that we are here to help. We're not just here to preach, teach, and act like we know everything. No, we have true solutions, and people can come to us and get those solutions. Absolutely. And if Crystal and I don't know it, we know to call Dr. Inga or Dr. Hollis or whomever is in our group, because we have several people that are in our group to help with absolutely everything that could be coming your way, health-wise. And I think people are just so overwhelmed or just don't know where to go.
Right.
And that's why we do what we do.
There is so much stuff coming at people from so many different directions.
That's right.
From the media, the TV, the computer, your cell phone, your tablet, your, ding, 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 all day long, and people are being bombarded. And it creates confusion. I see more anxiety. I see depression, at an all-time high. Road rage is undescribable. I told my husband the other day, I am not getting on I-70 or 435 anymore because people are zigzagging. And if you don't go fast enough, they go around you and get in front of you, hit their brakes because they're mad with you. And it's like, you know, just watching this play out on the highways gives you anxiety. You know,
Right.
it is horrible.
Yeah.
And, you know, people can only cope with so much. So, and then, you know, I have people in my office and all I hear is, you know, the anger about what's going on. And, you know, people get upset what's going on. And I'm like, you know what? That doesn't benefit you any. It doesn't benefit you any. You can be mad at Channel 5, Channel 9, Channel 4, whatever. Yeah, I don't have cable. I just have an antenna because there's nothing worthwhile watching on TV. You know, it is what it is. I said, but you need to tune that out, because getting upset and getting angry affects you and you alone, your health, your family, and you're not changing anything by being angry, being mad, being upset, being frustrated. It doesn't change the circumstances. There is nothing you can do. And I will get into a discussion about that. People may think there is something we can do. I've seen stuff like this before. So that's all I'm going to say. What matters is you matter. Your health, your body, your family, you know, and what God puts in your path. That is what matters. And that's where you need to focus your attention, because really that's all you have that you can give.
Yeah.
That's right.
Actually, that comes to another point, and the point is non-sleeping. And how, you know, people, their brains, and I'm one of them, you guys. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm one of them where my brain is going ongoing. And I did not realize that was an issue.
Yeah.
I found that out last week. I was doing research on another subject that we were doing, which was past traumas. Golly. Anyway, so Inga, what do you think about the sleeping or the non-sleeping that Americans are doing now?
It goes back to the adrenal glands. It goes back to the nervous system. But again, it goes back to toxicity. So the way our body functions, guys, is the body has a messaging system. And I love the word messenger because the word angel means messenger. And I like to teach it that way. So we have angels in our body. And all these millions of angels, they travel on these highways that are called nerves. Okay. But when you have toxicity and heavy metals and pesticides, that path is blocked. We have roadblocks. So how are these angels going to get through these roadblocks to get the message over here for that angel to pick up the baton and get that message over there? You can't. The whole system is disrupted.
That's right.
So if you start removing these obstacles, these roadblocks, the body can start doing what it's doing, and sleep starts to get better, and anxiety gets less, and depression becomes less. But it's a gradual process. So many people are in, I call it an instant mindset, you know, drive-through mindset. I want it fixed right here, right now. Well, when you do that and you think that drug from the doctor can do it, give it a few months and the drug won't work anymore, because watch the commercials. If you have been taking and you still have depression, ask your doctor to add this.
Yeah.
And you listen to the side effects, and the side effects are depression, anxiety, and suicide.
So Inga, and I'm not being disrespectful, you guys, by calling her Inga, so please don't think that. But Dr. Inga,
you're fine.
I have a question for you because, Crystal and I talk on a regular basis about everything. And she can feel absolutely everything in her body almost immediately. And I can double and triple up on things in my body that we take the same, and I don't feel anything. And I was talking to my sister-in-law last night about the same thing. We know we need to take these things, and I'm talking about our supplements. I'm talking about, because it's medicine, you guys. Our supplements are our medicines. That's how I look at it. Food. And so we take it, it's actual. Thank you, Inga. It's actual food, and we take it, but she and I don't feel it. But we know that if we don't take it, it's not good for us. But we still take it. But just like Crystal said earlier, she can take her green energy scoop a day and feel it immediately. Inga, please explain to everyone that is listening and beyond why it is that I can't feel things being African American and she can being Caucasian.
I am glad you used those words, because that way you did it and I didn't.
Yes, love it.
Oh, people look at my skin color, and not many people know that, I have 2 mixed children, and that I'm very familiar with the
Yes, you do.
African American, as you well know. But, many people still look at the color, but I'm not from this country. So there is no color on any of my paperwork because it doesn't know where I come from. But since you brought that up, here is the deal. And I prayed about this. About this because I saw this in my ex-husband. I saw the genetics and I saw the strong genes, so to speak. So there's a very simple reason for this, Kathy. We all have genetic makeup from our ancestors. So your people, African American people, came from Africa. Okay. Yes. They were conquered by other tribes. They were sold, to the Arabs. They were sold to people from other countries as slaves. So the ones that were not strong, they didn't survive the ship coming over. Okay. The ones that were not strong, they didn't survive slavery. The ones that were strong, okay, here's the key. The ones that were strong were taken by the slave masters and they were bred to make strong slaves. So your people are the strongest of the strong that came from Africa. Make sense?
Yes. But which means though, what is that? What does that translate to?
What that translates to is your body is not going to signal changes easily. Okay. However, for that very reason, Kathy, the #1 killer among African American women is strokes.
Oh, wow.
#1 killer, much higher than Caucasian. Also colon cancer and diabetes. Those are the killers. Why? Because your body is not saying, hey, you got to stop this because I don't do too well. And if you keep this up, we're going to die. Well, here is Crystal, doesn't have, has a good makeup. Obviously, she came back, but not that same genetic strong makeup. Her body is saying, hey, hello, I don't, you got to pay attention over here. So her body responds easier. She's more sensitive to changes. Well, your body is not, because your body you're like the ever-ready bunny. You keep going. All at once, the bunny runs out.
Yeah. And then you find out you're stage 4 cancer.
Yes.
Exactly. My mom did, and she was dead 6 weeks later. And that's not the only story I've ever heard like that.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Because when you have a strong genetic makeup, strong constitution, you're not going to feel cancer till maybe stage 4 or 5 or whatever. And then you go to the doctor. Oh, you have cancer. You have 2 weeks to live.
Yeah.
Well, you have and then
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. It's okay. Go ahead.
So basically what I see when people come to me is like, I got 3 months to live. Yeah. I didn't know I had cancer. I had this cough. It's not just African-American people though, Kathy. There are Caucasian people with strong genetic makeup, and especially Northeastern Europe with the bright blue eyes, but again, so people with brown eyes, and I'm not talking African-American, I'm talking Asian, I'm talking India, just brown eyes genetically, you have a weakness when it comes to blood sugar issues, when it comes to cardiovascular issues and joints. Those are the weaknesses in brown people. Blue-eyed people, on the other hand, have urinary issues, joint issues, and respiratory issues. So those are genetic weaknesses based on color of the eyes.
So what's your solution? That's a loaded question.
Well, and not everybody needs to come see me. You guys have learned enough to know that people need a basic detox. And when I talk detoxing, I have to say I don't like herbal detox. And why do I not like herbal detox? Because in an herbal detox, the body dumps the toxins into the bloodstream.
Yep.
People can get sick. They call it a healing crisis, which is not necessary. Okay.
I've been through that.
Yeah, exactly. Then the blood filters to the liver. The liver has to deal with all these toxins, but the liver does all these other functions it's supposed to be doing while it's dealing with the overload of the toxins in the blood. Then it goes through the small intestines, which is the area where we absorb nutrients and toxins on its way out the body, versus taking a mineral detox that captures the toxins and it keeps it captured in a little chamber, and it moves out through the kidneys. The body never sees it again. So those are 2 different types of detoxes. The second one is simple. Everybody can do it. It's a little bit of liquid. It's a little bit under the tongue. It's a little bit in a glass of water. not big sludge drinks. I can't swallow that. It sets up, it gets thick.
Yep.
The complaints
Yep.
from people.
It's so difficult sometimes when you have clients because like they're not everybody's used to what we do all the time. You know what I mean? Not everybody's used to eating all that thick fiber and things like that. And they're like, and greens, and they're like, oh, you know?
Yeah.
So,
But again, I've had people, I work with people long distance, even all over the world sometimes. And I tell people, let's first do the basics. Let's try 4 products. Let's try a detox combination, the detox to cell. It is the only detox that can cross the blood-brain barrier. No herb can get across the blood-brain barrier. Clean and heal the digestive tract. Then give the body essential nutrition. You can tell my green drink. Give the body some protein in the morning because people skip breakfast or they eat carbs for breakfast.
Oh boy.
Do those basics first. Do the detox. Greens, a multivitamin green drink, some protein in the morning. Do that for 3 months and see what changes. And you know what? I don't have pain in my joints anymore. A lady yesterday, I was checking on her, see how she was doing. And she says, I can't believe it, but I had a growth on my hand and it's gone. 1 month on the detox, energy.
And I just want to say something about detoxing, you guys. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. If you're going through a detox and it shows up on your skin as acne or bumps, just know that it is working.
Yes, it's moving out.
Do not stop the detox because you're seeing something. You're seeing something because it is detoxing, and you have to stick with it until your skin smooths out or until the acne goes away.
Yeah. I tell
So
people,
don't stop it. Keep it going.
Yeah. And then people, I think I'm allergic to this. And that is a word that gets me because I don't believe in allergies. I do not believe in allergies. Now, when it comes to chemicals, don't bring chemicals around me. If I walk down the aisle in the grocery store where all the cleaning chemicals are, I'm just
gosh.
Lord, but that is chemical. But if we are quote unquote allergic to something that God has made in nature, that's ridiculous. There is nothing wrong with nature, with what God has made. But if you have a reaction, there is something wrong with your body.
Yeah. Right. And we have to detox.
Explain the sun rays or sunlight to the cholesterol and vitamin D.
So basically, in layman terms, I guess, to put it, that when the sun hits your skin, right, it doesn't just like automatically, hey, there's vitamin D going straight through your skin, right? It's not like that. It actually takes your cholesterol and converts it to vitamin D for you to absorb it that way.
That blows my mind, by the way. It does. It blows my mind.
Yeah, we need our fats. And, talk about vitamin D. The news media talking about with this epidemic going on that people are low in vitamin D. Everybody's low in vitamin D.
Yeah.
Not epidemic related. It's related to health in general. But, now everybody's taking vitamin D and they're taking a irradiated sheep fat. Irradiated sheep fat. And they think it's a nutrient. And, my vitamin D is fine according to my blood work. My vitamin D is green. It is food. It's a combination of good greens with probiotics and mushrooms. That is my vitamin D. The body says, this is good. I'll grab hold of that. Versus here is your chemical vitamin D, which causes stress on liver and kidneys as your body is trying to process it.
That's
so
right.
I want to go back to that detox that we were talking about because it's called Zeolite. And I can say that because it's not a brand name. It's actually what it's called, Zeolite.
It's a mineral.
So explain how Zeolite actually works. You kind of touched on it, but kind of explain what it does to the body for it not to go into our bloodstream, but actually just expels.
Okay. Well, since you mentioned the word, I want to go into the different types of zeolite first, because people may go online and search Dr. Google, as we call it, and look for zeolite, and they end up with a synthetic form, or they end up.
We don't want you guys to do that.
No, don't want you to do that. Then there are granular forms, the granules, and the granules cannot. Cross the blood-brain barrier. They cannot be absorbed under the tongue. So it's not that type of technology. So it's very important that you have a clean product. Also, zeolite has a natural affinity for heavy metals. It pulls out heavy metals, or it attracts heavy metals. And if it's not properly cleaned, you don't want that in your body. So those are the basics on the zeolite. So zeolite under a microscope looks like a honeycomb. The honeycomb has these little openings in the center, these little tiny chambers. Well, those chambers are cages, they look like. That is where the negative magnetic force is. It is like a strong magnet that sucks in chemicals, heavy metals, pesticides, anything that does not belong in the body, whether it's yeast, fungus, parasites, viruses, different proteins, they all carry a positive charge. The zeolite chamber is negatively charged. So it just literally sucks it in. And I have a wonderful little video, that I could play to explain it. It's like a magnet. But the thing is that if you have a lot of health problems and you're afraid of being exposed to viruses or other things, it doesn't go in the body and say, oh, wait a minute, I got to grab this virus first, or I got to grab this parasite first. No, it grabs whatever it comes in contact with first.
That's right.
So depending on how much you have in your body toxicity wise, the longer it can take to see results. But, just like this lady that texted me yesterday, she's been on the detox, just a detox, and these 4 basic products for a month. And I didn't even know it. She says, I had a growth on my hand and it's gone.
That's great.
Wow.
That is great.
What was the other testimony you guys had about the little child that was on the spectrum of autism?
Yeah, 4 years old. Yeah, I know her grandmother. The little child is 4 years old. She had never spoken. She only grunted. She never said one word. 1 month, she was using the detox, and she walked in her grandma's room and she said, hi, Grandma, how are you?
Wow. Wow.
Her language is continuing to develop. She's using more and more words. She's learning to ride a bicycle. I mean, I have a hard time talking about it. I have a vaccine damaged child, as you know, but the brain damage is too severe. But this child didn't have brain damage. This child was poisoned from vaccines. And, the heavy metals and stuff that are in vaccines were being pulled out by the zeolite, and the child is starting to become a normal child. And, the other thing is, like I said, I mentioned earlier, people with RA, joint pains and energy and brain fog is disappearing because the body is able to start communicating.
That's right.
It's starting to do what it's designed to do.
Wow.
And it's so simple. It's so powerful and so simple. It's ridiculous.
I know. That is. And speaking of heavy metals, those things aren't everything. It can be in our food. It can be in your cosmetics, even your water, you name it. And heavy metals are due to dementia and Alzheimer's, that's a huge thing. With those two things, so what would we want to do? We want to get those heavy metals out, and that's really important to detox.
It is absolutely important. People don't realize it. When you pick up food in a store, they give you these little, these little trays, dishes that they put like fries in and stuff. They kind of look waxy on the inside. Those chemicals never leave the body. They cause cancer. They never leave the body. When I came to this country, I'd never seen Teflon or non-stick cookware. I thought I landed in heaven when, in America, they have pans that don't stick. Little did I know back in the day, after a few years, there's none of that non-stick stuff left. And it's all in your body. And again, it's another cancer-causing agent. Instead of landing in heaven, I landed in hell, so to speak. Yeah. Because after all these years, you got to get that stuff out of your body.
Yep.
People buy supplements in plastic bottles. Plastic bottles may be BPA free, but they're not phthalate free. And phthalates build up in the body and cause cancer. All these plastic bottles. So
that's right.
There's drinking water out of plastic bottles. I don't know a soul in the world that doesn't do that, except for maybe Inga.
And when I'm desperate and I'm on the road and I need water,
there you go.
I do glass bottles. We prefer to stop at grocery stores and look for glass bottles. Perrier, but it's not always available when I'm traveling. But when
we go out to eat, that's the first thing they do is put hot food in our plastic containers, and that's all heat. That heat is releasing a lot of stuff, and you guys, we're not trying to scare you. We're just trying to make you aware.
Correct.
That's all we're trying to do is make you aware. And if you don't know, you don't know. But when you know, you got to do better.
Yep, absolutely. I would like to bring up a photo of this. The effects of toxic overload and nutrient deficiency. What does that cause? This little wheel shows you. It can affect sleep. You might have brain fog. You might have heart issues. You might have skin issues. Digestive issues might occur. Inflammation is the root, of all disease. And here it affects your metabolism. You wonder why you're not losing weight, low energy, muscle aches, joint discomfort. And a lot of these things also relate to the thyroid, and being toxic affects all of that in our bodies. So I just wanted to bring up this little pinwheel to show you, the effects of toxic overload, because it's so, what do you want to say, prevalent in our world today, where it's like everywhere, like everything we do, it's everywhere. So.
And we have solutions for that. Actually, that slide came from a company that we're partnered with, all three of us. We're partnered with that company, and if Dr. Inga is involved in something, you guys, I want to be involved in it because I know that it has validity. I know that she's done her research. I know she's talked to people. I know she's vetted people. And when she calls and says, hey, Crystal, hey, KATHEY, guess what's going on? We want to be on board because we know that it has validity. And so that company, we totally get people on these products. And they are definitely helping. Like all these testimonies we're telling you about today, my skin issue, like I've been detoxing for a while, and I've had bumps on my arms, and they are going away eventually. That's why I said that, actually.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I stick with it. I don't let something, if I know the skin is the biggest organ that we have, you guys. And if it's not showing on your skin, then that means you're okay. But if it shows on your skin, that means that you have to keep doing it. So that's actually why I said that. But yeah, it's just, we love helping people with the products that we do offer, and we do offer some because it's like Dr. Inga said, it's food. It's concentrated food. There's no way you can eat as much food as in one scoop of this food.
Yeah, get quality. There is such a misconception in this country that if they go and buy organic produce, that they have clean produce. But I'll tell you here that USDA organic just means that other people that are spraying pesticides only have to be 9 feet away from where this organic produce is grown. 9 feet. Well, the wind can blow 9 feet. So
yeah, it can.
The neighbor is spraying, and the organic produce grows over here, and it blows right over, and it's still considered organic. While what we are using is QAI certified. It's an international certification.
Right.
And it means that anybody using pesticides has to be at least 25 miles away from the produce that I am giving you, from the nutrients I'm giving you. And not only that, it is non-GMO. It is gluten-free. It is vegan. It is whole food. Like I said, my vitamin D comes from vegetables and mushrooms.
That's right.
Not a tablet that is a chemical, but it is food. And that makes all the difference in the world. People that have had health problems for so many years are seeing relief. Gut problems. Crystal nailed it with her health problems. Everything starts in the gut. But so many people cannot take a lot of drinks, protein drinks, because bloating and gas. Well, all at once they can take these things because these problems start to disappear because they get essential nutrients in the body, which is
right.
Which is key. Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
Right. I found
the fountain of youth. Actually, go ahead. I'm sorry, Crystal.
Oh no, yeah, and you're right about that. I believe that too. Like I'm gonna say, it's changed my whole world. Like I was going into healing crisis, trying to do herbal detoxes and things, and I couldn't do them. And the more you can't detox, the more toxic you're getting, right, day by day, and then the sicker you're getting. So I was not feeling good for a minute, there. Got on these products. I did not go into a healing crisis. I did have some detox symptoms. That's like normal. Okay, guys, that is normal. Because I'm toxic. What do you expect, out of that? So, but I did not go into a healing crisis. And within the first 3 days, I started sleeping through the night really well. I started being able just to go to sleep, because before, normally I'm having insomnia and I can't sleep, right? I'm laying there, I'm like, oh my gosh, just go to sleep, and I'm just one of those people. But now I'm just going to sleep right when I need to, and my body's feeling better. I have more energy. My mood is changing. I'm not so like, I don't have as much anxiety. You know what I'm saying? So I know that it's doing something. Yeah. But I do want to get into just a couple of questions here before we have to get off the air today, because we have about 5 minutes left.
Yeah.
But here's a picture. It says, what's your toxin risk factor on a scale from like 1 to 10? Toxins, they can be found in the food, what we eat. We talked about that. In the air we breathe. Inga discussed that earlier. In the Midwest, even you can't, or in America, actually all of America, you cannot breathe. You can't go anywhere without breathing Roundup. So that's really important. But here's some questions. It says, how often do you eat or drink from plastic containers? That's something we mentioned today. How often do you consume packaged and processed foods? Are you eating more whole foods, and are you eating organic? Those are things to think about. How often do you use cosmetics and personal care products? There's a lot of women, that use cosmetics every single day, every single day. And just because you wash it off at night does not mean you washed off all the toxins that come from that, or the heavy metals, that's already absorbed into your bloodstream.
I was about to say it's already in there. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're using that daily. Just think about these things, you guys. How often do you spend time with carpeting or area rugs in your home? A lot of people have carpet, that has a lot of toxins in it, the paint on your walls. How often do you drive in areas of high traffic each week with all that pollution, the city? How often do you eat large oily fish and swordfish and tuna that could have mercury in it? There's a lot of questions. How often are you concerned about your toxic exposure? Are you even concerned? Ask yourself these questions, because it's a real thing.
Yes.
There's so many questions we could go on and on about. How often do you experience headaches? I just talked to me and Kathy, actually. Kathy and I just talked to someone Saturday, someone who experienced headaches off and on, and then sometimes constantly, she's experienced that throughout her life. That's a thing. We shouldn't be having headaches. How often do you have digestive discomfort? When I wasn't able to detox and cleanse, I was having digestive discomfort every single day, almost all day. It was crazy.
Yeah, so we even talked to a man that had gut issues. Like a couple of guys came up to us, and I think 3 people came up to us and said specifically that they wanted their gut issue, looked at. And we have solutions for you. Everything we're telling you about, guys, we have solutions for them.
Absolutely.
Natural options. They're natural options. And you don't have to be saddled with gut issues, arthritis, none of this stuff. You don't have to be saddled with it. We can actually help you get beyond your health issues. We can help you. But just like what the doctor says, you have to do what is asked of you for those things to end. And a lot of time it does take a actual lifestyle change.
That's right. You can take products and you can take supplements, and they can really help and do things. But if your diet is really poor versus someone who has a really clean diet, their results are going to come by faster if you have a clean diet. If you have a poor diet full of carbs, sugar, processed foods, chemicals, you name it, it's going to be a lot harder, and it's going to take a lot longer to detox and start feeling better, start to feel something. So it really works in conjunction, with eating right, the lifestyle, managing your stress, prayer, meditation.
And I do want you guys to know this too. We live the same lives you guys live, just slightly different. And we're bombarded with a lot of stuff that you guys are bombarded with. The difference is we are trying to walk it out in a natural way. Correct. And a lot of our ailments are leaving because of that. Like you guys have heard me talk about my brother being able to get off of medicines because of the shakes that my sister-in-law gives him on a daily basis, because she's a good sister-in-law. She wants her husband to hang around for a while. He's off of all his meds.
That's amazing.
Powerful. That's powerful.
It's so powerful. I want to be like that so badly. Yeah. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. She's lost over 30 pounds since we started this with her. And I'm just so proud of them both. I really, truly am.
Yeah.
So I just want you guys to know it's working. We're walking it out. And I have to tell you this too. Yesterday, I was a little bit on edge because I was flying here to Arizona, and I was overwhelmed, and things were happening, and I was even anxiety was setting up, and I had to call Crystal, and I'm like, Crystal, I need you right now. And she talked me through it, you guys. So no, we're not perfect. I'm telling you that right now. We're not perfect.
The bottom line is, though, Kathy, when you take all these medications and know that every one of those medications had other side effects leading to other medications, by the time you're 65 years old, they want Americans on at least 10 medications.
Oh my.
The system, okay? I know people, my sister-in-law is a clinical social worker, has done home health care, that there are elderly people eating meat that are dog food cans because they cannot afford groceries. Because all the money going on the medications. So I always say, pay now, be preventive, get your quality of life versus pay later and have nothing left and no quality of life.
That's right. You can't put a price tag on your health.
That's a perfect ending, actually. That's a perfect ending. So you guys, I just want to thank you guys for being here with us today.
Absolutely.
Listen to this program again, soak it in, take notes. Dr. Inga is available through her email, but we can get you to her if ever we need you. If you need us to get you directly to Dr. Inga, just contact us on our website or call us. We'll definitely get you to her. She is amazing. It's just amazing how amazing she is.
Yes, I've learned so much. I'm so thankful.
Oh my gosh. And she
all
teaches
these years.
everybody, though. That's the thing. Yeah, she's an awesome person. So anyway, you guys, if you're green inside, you're clean inside. And remember that health is wealth, not the money. It's your health. Without health, you have nothing. Exactly. All right. So thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you. And thank you, Dr. Inga. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. We appreciate